back from the range, testing the Beretta BRX 308, and there's also, I bought this the other day, which is a Tikka T3 light stainless in 223 Remington, and it's got the 1 in 12 inch twist for the barrel. I bought this second hand. I saved about $300 versus brand new. The gun's only, I think the gun shop said it was 12 months old. They sold it to the original owner, who had to get rid of it. It was in fairly good nick. There is a bit of surface rust on the gun, just a very light surface rust. I've been through and cleaned most of that off that I can, just with a nylon scouring pad and some inox. There was a bit of corrosion on the muzzle with this as well, same as that 17 HMR that I've got to get recrowned, but it hasn't seemed to have affected this. I'll cut some pictures into the groups that I shot today. I only bought the one type of ammo to try in it. I didn't have enough money to get 3 or 4 different lots the other day when I went up and purchased this. But yeah, shoots sub MOA with that ammo that I tried in it, which is the Fiocchi 55 grain VMAX, Hornady VMAX, which shot okay in my Howa 223, I think. The reason I got this is down the line, I wanted something like not as loud as like a 243 or anything like that or a 22-250 for spotlighting. I would have liked a 22-250, and if they would have had the barrel kits out in other calibers for the Beretta, they would have had one in 223 or 22-250, I would have bought one. But they're still 5 months or so away and they haven't expanded the caliber offerings. It'll only be the barrel kits for the current calibers that they're offering: 243, 65 Creedmoor, 308, 3006 and 300 Win Mag. Which is a bit of a pain. And down the line this may get turned into something like a 6-ARC, 6BR, something like that, depending on availability of stuff at the time, I suppose. But for the time being, she'll be a 223 for a few years yet, I'd say. Just cleaning her up. Took me, I started sighting in at 50 yards. I can't remember how, I'll have to count on the target how many shots it took me. But I don't know if I was making weird adjustments with the scope, how far I was clicking. But it took me a few goes to adjust over, and then I went too far and then had to come back. Okay, I'll put some more solvent on here. Fired probably, have to look, but I think 15 or 20 shots in total. I don't think it would have been more than 20. Inside of the barrel in this seems to be in pretty good nick, which is good. The only concerning thing was, again, there was some corrosion on the crown. I assume she must have stored the gun resting on the crown in the safe. The lady that owned it from brand new. Again, don't do that. Store it muzzle up. That way you've got air movement around the crown. It'll be easier to notice if you've got any corrosion forming on there. whenever you're in the safe looking at other stuff. Okay. When I first got this, picked it up the other day, I brought it home. Like I said, I cleaned the little spots of rust off the barrel. I took it out of the action, adjusted the trigger. I have ordered a trigger spring for this as well, but it won't be here for probably a week or so. I adjusted the trigger down as far as I could. I haven't measured the trigger yet, the trigger pull gauge, but it is fairly heavy. Seems to be heavier than the trigger on the Beretta. Like, feels substantially heavier. So I highly doubt it's below a kilogram trigger pull. 1,000 gram trigger pull. But when I go to install this trigger spring, I'll definitely run it over the trigger pull gauge and see what it's at and see what it gets down to with this new spring. I think it's a 1.5 pound spring they supply, something like that anyway. Just remembered something that I've got to do as well. I'll be back in a second. Just post a chair. Sitting around here somewhere. Yes, I do. I have to remember to message Benjamin. I've got a M-lock sling swivel plate here for someone that I saw at the range today. He's got one of the new SCA or SCSA Taipan Light X rifles. He had one of the original model ones, had heaps of trouble with it out at the range. It wouldn't cycle, wouldn't eject cases. Ended up having to mortar the action with the pump to get a case out of it, I think it was a live cartridge actually. And he's got the new one. The new one, they swapped the defective one for the new model, the newest model one that they released not long ago, and that seems to be working perfectly for him so far. And I told him I might have one of these at home for him, so now I've got to get onto him. I'll message him after I've done this, and then either I can drop that into him one day next time I'm in where he lives, or he can come out and pick it up. One of the two. But I've got no use for that anymore, so pass it on to someone who does have use for it. Okay, that's pretty well clean. Patches. Yeah, this thing feeds, functions perfectly. The only thing I don't like about the magazine, the 223 Tikka mags, I never realised they're like it, but they have a steel feed lips in them, and they seem a bit harder to get rounds into than their standard polymer mags in the other cartridges. That's a 4-rounder, and so I'll have to eventually get a 6-rounder or a 10-rounder or something. I haven't mentioned this will be used for spotlighting as well. Primarily, that's what it will be used for. Anyway, okay. I wasn't going to, but what I might do is I'll run some dry patches through. Comes out fairly clean. So I'm going to grab the copper solvent and run through it. Now, I mentioned I did bring this home and clean it when I first picked it up. It cleaned up pretty quickly and easily. I did run the copper solvent through it at the time as well. but it didn't have any copper buildup in it. So we'll see these rounds today have laid any copper in there. No. Normally it'd react on that first patch, but I'll give it one more just to be safe. Yeah. I like the Tikka rifles. They're smooth action. They all seem to shoot good, especially if you hand load for them. But they are getting, in my opinion, a bit pricey here in Australia, considering what they are. They're not a Seiko, but they're getting up around the $2,000 mark, which is really only $1,000 away from what you could pick up a Seiko 85 if you found a cheap one on sale somewhere for. And the new Seiko 90s here in Australia, they're just ridiculous. Like what they're asking for them, it's an absolute joke. There's no way, no way you'd be paying $5-6 grand for a Seiko action. Build yourself a custom rifle. Get a Stiller, Surgeon, Defiance action, Bartline, Krieger barrel, Swan barrel, anything like that. You'd be paying just as much, if not less, than what Seiko are asking for some of their higher end rifles these days. Absolutely ridiculous. I think one of the ones at the gun shop was, I think he was saying it was $8 grand. And that's absolutely ridiculous for a factory rifle. Absolutely ridiculous. Doesn't matter how much carbon fibre it's got. $8 grand is a joke. Still a bit of grey smudging coming out, so I'll run a few more patches and then I'll put some oil down the bore. And I'll start cleaning the Beretta. More patches over here in this one. One more dry patch. Okay, put the copper solvent away. Just going to bring that carbon solvent back when I move over to the Beretta. Let that absorb in a bit. Spread out on the patch. Stab myself with a jag. Sit that down there until I'm done cleaning everything, and I'll put that away separately. Pull the ball guide out. Okay. And away in here. In there. That out a bit. These are basically a 30 cal patch, but they just give you a bit more meat on the patch to clean stuff out of the action and everything. Gets a bit of gunk out of there, and then I'll run some oil in there. Same oil I use in the bore, just to give it a bit of corrosion protection, because it's been so humid here at home, it's not funny. Get on there. And I pulled it straight through the slotted jag. Back on there. At the halfway point. A little bit of oil on there. Turn that back on there like that. The chamber a bit in there. And that comes out gunky on the patches. Probably do that 3 or 4 times to get it clean. Not real worried about getting it clean, because I clean it out the next time I go before I go shooting again. I'll do the same thing, just run dry ones in there. That gets the bulk of everything out. Okay. That can sit over there. Now, I'll be back momentarily. Okay, I'm back. I've just given this a wipe down. I've just got to get the bottle. Spinning around there. Okay. Okay, she's all clean. Chuck this away and I'll grab the 308. One thing I want to do first is make sure I get that muzzle. of splashing. .30 cal dragon rod. Okay. One thing that I should have done first. Just throw that in there. And throw that up on there like that. Now, I only fired 3 shots through this to check the return to 0. 2 I had through the one hole, and the other one I pulled to the right. And I called it when I pulled it. And it would be easily within 1/4 of an inch, probably an 1/8 of an inch of its 0 before I took the barrel off. So it definitely, this one at least definitely returns to 0, as it should. Or as they claim it does. Like I said, I just wish they'd get more calibers out for this. The caliber kits that they already offer, I wish they'd get them out instead of just on pre-order. And I wish they'd actually start releasing them in other calibers. The other thing is, they were talking about a 10-shot magazine, but they still haven't done that either. 10-shot magazine would make this even better. Just for me, because I miss so much. Especially on running targets. But, yeah. I just wish they'd get that 10-round mag out. If they'd start offering them in 223 or 22-50 or something like that. Any of those other calibers. I think it's 6 arc. I don't know if they could get 6 arc working though with the... They probably could. It's just same thing. It'd have to be a completely different magazine, like they offer for the other, like short/medium actions and the magnum action for the 300 mag. Okay. What's that? 3 or 4 patches. That appears to have got the bulk of the crap out of the lands anyway, or off the lands. There's still stuff you can see coming out of the grooves. I just need to get the brush. Switch to the brush. Give him 20 or 40 strokes with the brush, maybe a bit more. Still going on my hand. Okay. Not that I was going to get anything in the magazine. I've got the bore guide in there. Just have it. Another 20 or so with more solvent. Remember, the solvent's the thing that's doing the work for you. Don't be afraid to put some in there. blow them off with some brake cleaner. That back on there to catch any dripping. Okay. Run some more wet patches. Hopefully that's got all the carbon out now. Very light smudging on the patch. Slight bluing too, so there's definitely some copper there. I can't remember the last time I filmed this. It would have been like 2 videos ago or something. I think this is the last of the carbon cleaner. So I don't think this is the actual general purpose Hellmar cleaner yet. I still haven't got to test if that's a bit more aggressive on the copper than the carbon cleaner is. But I'll run a dry patch now, and then I'll run some of the copper cleaner through just to be sure, seeing as we're running those copper projectiles. Monolithic projectiles, so there's a bit of blue streaking on there, very faint and light, but I'll run one more dry patch and then I'll switch to the copper cleaner, and that should show us if we've got any large amounts of that in there. So there's still a bit of blue on that dry patch. Okay, switch to the copper cleaner and we'll see how that goes. So I'll have to refill this bottle soon too. See that brought blue out on that patch again. Whereas it hadn't brought that blue streaking out with the carbon cleaner. It was just a very faint blue all over the patch, whereas this definitely picked it up. There must be still some down in the grooves in the barrel. Yep, it's even darker streaks and bigger. What I'll do now is, I won't run the brush, but I'll scrub this patch incrementally through the barrel. Really soak it. Just back and forth, slowly moving out into bigger, longer strokes down the barrel. Take it real slow, because you want to make sure when you're getting close to that crown, you're getting a good scrub right at the crown of the barrel, just before the crown, where you're going to have your heaviest copper deposits, like that. Come on. There we go. Drop it off. I'm going to get a couple more wet patches out of this bottle. This one and one more, based on how much is in there. And that one goes through, and that's got long, dark blue streaks of copper again. So you might have to let this sit for a bit. And it's only 3 rounds. So one thing I don't like about using copper projectiles, those patches are clean, those bottom ones aren't. Scrub this one again. Right up to that crown. Remember what I said about letting the solvent do the work? So this time we're going to push on through, and then we'll set a timer and leave it to sit and do its work. It's still got dark, long streaks on that patch too. Okay, I'll set a timer on here and then I'll be back. I'm back again. Time's up. Let's see how this goes. That's a lot of copper. I'll actually pull that off and show you. That's the copper that just come off that patch. That first dry patch through the bore. I'll keep running some, see how they go. If I have to, I'll push in more copper cleaner through, and then we'll leave it sit again. Hopefully we don't have to do that. That one came out fairly clean. I'll do a few more patches and then try a wet one just to see how it's going. That's got very little blue on it, just a bit of grey crud. Try one more. Very little blue again. This one I'll do a wet patch. If it comes out with long dark streaks on it again, I'll have to let it soak again. See how this one goes. Very, very light, faint blue. So I'd say that first soaking got rid of most of that copper. I'll rub some more patches out of here. Do another wet one just to see how it's going. Sometimes you don't get that instant reaction to it. Takes a couple of patches to get a lot of copper. It's got some longer streaks. They're nowhere near as bad as that first time. I'll still run a couple more wet ones and then we'll leave it sit for another 10 minutes or so. Just want to get most of that copper out. I don't want it to get to the point where it takes 6, 7, 8 soakings and brushings and scrubbings to get it out. I want to take care of it as we go. Makes for an easier job in the future. I might scrub this one down the bore and then run another wet one afterwards. Right find most of your copper deposits. And they come out with almost nothing on it. One more heavily soaked patch, and we'll leave it sit. Okay, leave this sit for another 5 or 10, and we'll be back again. Back after 10 minutes. Let's see if this is finally free of copper. Ooh, there's heavy long streaks on there again. But I think at this point I'll put it away after I've patched this out and oiled it and everything. I'll put it away in the safe, and it's going to have to wait for another day where I can sit down and let it soak another couple of times. Well, this is very minimal blue coming out of here now. Purely because I've got other stuff to do at the moment. So this will be clean enough. I dropped another patch. Yay. Okay. Shake this stuff up. Getting a lot on here, so I really want to make sure it's, just hold that over the bin for a second while it soaks in, because it just dripped one little drip off it. I don't want it to drip more off there. Okay. There we go. That's the barrel. That's the barrel done for the moment. Like I said, I'll have to, maybe one day through the week, if I get off work Friday early, I'll have to dedicate that bit of time to running some more copper solvent through and just leaving it soak until I get it all out. Okay, that's that done. Which one did that come out of? This one. Although, like I've experienced with some of the other rifles, they tend to shoot closer to your 0 point when they do have a bit of stuff in the barrel. I don't care what anyone says. Hunting is not about hitting a target and adjusting for the rest of your groups. It's about those first few shots. Well, the first shot in particular has to go where you point it. Now, move that up there like that. Make this a bit easier for me. Oh well. Same thing. I'll do a couple of dry patches to get any powder crud or anything just out of the chamber. Any of that solvent that's leaked back, and then I'll hit it with a bit of oil. It's got a bit of crud in there, but not much. 2 more. Okay, we can zip that shut. I really do like the job Beretta have done with this BRX one, but like I said, they are just dragging their feet when it comes to getting the other stuff out for it. The other calibers, the barrel kits, the bigger magazines, all that sort of stuff. used to work retail, like supermarket retail. I did 15 years or so, and let me tell you, all the gun companies in Australia, if they were in the supermarket business and they were in the supermarket business like they run their gun business, holy shit would they be in trouble. You'd have people in there throwing shit at them every day. The amount of abuse we used to cop just working in supermarket retail was ridiculous. I could never run a supermarket like they run this shit. Never have stuff in stock. Can't tell you when the ETA of it coming in is. 12-month order time for something that they don't keep in stock normally. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'll put this back over here now. Okay, it's just clean, chamber's done. Just gonna get this little wipe down here. Okay, I can go back in there. Now I'll put a bit more on here. I like this inox so far, but the thing needs to be more of a spray than a jet. If you squirt that down too far, it just basically shoots out a stream. That is not very good. Thread protector on there real good last time. I feel that. Real good. I should have put a patch right down to the muzzle and shone a torch in to see how much copper I can see in there, but I don't think there's that much in there still. I think it's just a little bit down in the grooves, which always proves to be a bit harder to get out. Bolt. Keeps flipping over. Just as much on my hands as on the bolt. This is the important thing with this, lining it up. Okay. Now I've just got to give the rest of this wipe down. The sling swivel studs. If I could get to that head of that screw up there, I would, but I can't. Okay, that's this done for the day. I will get the photos of these targets and I'll cut them into the video where it's relevant. Alright, catch us in the next one.